All right, we'll go ahead and get started. It's 5:30, and if everyone at this time would join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, board members, we're down to approving our agenda. We do have some additions to our agenda this evening. And I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda by adding action item H, which is to consider the designation of specific programs and applications as traceable communication systems.
Second.
Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of adding this to the agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. I'd like to make another motion to amend the agenda by adding action item I, and that is to consider award bid for Muhlenberg County High School, Muhlenberg County Middle School roofing project. A second from Mr. Johar. All in favor of adding this to the agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. I'd like to make another motion to amend the agenda by adding action item J, and this is to consider awarding bid for Muhlenberg South Elementary parking lot ceiling. Second by Mr. Porter. All in favor of approving the addition, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Are there any other additions to our agenda tonight? If not, I will need a motion to approve the amended agenda. Motion by Ms. Bard. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the amended agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. All right, we'll move down now to Carla with our recognitions for the night.
Good evening, you board members and all you guests out there. Tonight I'm going to read to you all. Got a special award to share with you. So on behalf of the Board of Education, I want to recognize a recent award that we as a district have received along with each of our schools. As I describe this recognition, I hope that you will notice specific wording that I have incorporated, and I will elaborate on that at the end. The National Beta District of Distinction is awarded to school districts who demonstrate a commitment to academic excellence, leadership development, and service involvement due to their relentless pursuit of growth. To qualify, all schools within our district must offer National Beta. In other words, stand up and own it. And induct qualifying students in grades 4 through 12 within each school. Districts that don't encompass grades 4 through 12 are not eligible for this award. Muhlenberg County Schools, through the power of the herd, has been awarded one of 78 districts as a 2024-25 National District of Distinction recipient. Through the exceptional effort of our superintendent, school principals, club sponsors, and deserving Beta members, the recognition of this national award speaks highly of their commitment to not only academic excellence, leadership development, and service involvement, but to how they show up, embrace challenges, and act with integrity. This distinction illustrates their dedication to prepare students for college and career readiness. In other words, performing above the line. The students in our district understand the importance of these qualities and exemplify the Beta motto, let us lead by serving others. Along with this award, each of our schools will receive or have received a plaque from National Beta. I believe this is a wonderful visual of the work our Beta students, the sponsors, and family members have put into creating strong relationships, increasing self-value, and taking pride in their actions. interactions. So I want to say congratulations, they're not here, but to all of our betas, because we don't have room for all of our betas in Muhlenberg County. Several will be traveling to Orlando over the next 2 weeks for the national convention to compete and have some fun. I'd like to also give a shout out to all of our beta sponsors across our district who pour into this club and its members. So I'm going to list those names to you all now. At Bremen Elementary, we have Tiffany Napier and Darla Durrell. At Central City, we have Brickell Beadnell Thomas, Destiny Everly, Hannah Nossinger, Melinda Doris, and Taylor Sudlett. At Greenville, we have Allison Ramsey, Alicia Carver, and Morgan Murphy. At Longest, we have Brittany Sharp. At South Elementary, we have Sarah Brothers and Emily Harvey. At our middle school, we have Kara Lear, Tanya Sparks, Vanita Wright, Tamara Coleman, Ashton Travis, Lisa Cunningham, and Alicia White. And then at our high school, we have Amara Stroud, Michelle Armour, Missy Thompson, and Margie Hall. That's a lot of people putting in a lot of time for beta. And just as this award reminds us of all the exceptional beta clubs that we have in each of our schools, the high school blueprint is a clear reminder of the hard work and dedication our high school principal, Mr. Ken Garber, has poured into improving the culture at the high school. Thus the reason I use the specific wording. So I want to say again, congratulations to our school betas. He's not here with us, but a congratulations to Mr. Carver for the work that he put into the past 3 years as our principal. We know that Ms. Micah Ball is going to pick right up and continue building our culture there. And as we have heard him say for the past 3 years, who are we? MC. I have a award that, if you all don't mind, I would like to just get a picture of all of you all with this, because it is for the entire district. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. So I'm just going to sit it right here and get a picture of you all if you don't mind. And I'll show you, and principals who are here, if you've not gotten it yet, I've got a long list here, but they'll receive a plaque like this to hang in their school. They are in your mailboxes. One, two, three. Do one more. 1, 2, 3. And that concludes my recognition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Put on the district news.
I'm sorry.
About the data thing, put on the district.
Oh, yes. Yes, I will thank all of them.
So we'll move down now to our treasurer's report, Mr. Blitzinger.
Thank you, Chairman Rager and board members. I'll just start with revenues. These are the financials as of May 31st, 2025. We had $3.864 million in revenues. This is up $407,000 from last month and up $409,000 from the same period last year. Of those, federal was up $27,000, SEEK was unchanged, state was down about $388,000, taxes down $173,000, other is up $87,000, food service down $120,000, and daycare is up $2,000. On the expenditure side, we had $1.51 million in accounts payable. This is down approximately $9,000 compared to the same period last year. The significant bills in May were CNC contracting of $161,100, Summit Engineering of $154,047, and Train USA of $80,879. Payroll was $3,117,944. That is up $238,000 versus May of '24 for a total expense of about $4.63 million. Further breakdown of accounts payable, fixed and mixed expense about $755,000, variable expense of $606,000, and utilities of $150,000. Are there any questions?
Any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Yance, second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Moving down to payment of bills and salaries.
This month I bring $1,069,853.32. Of those, the significant checks that were written were for sports turf of $384,681.81. That is the down payment for the field. Paxton Patterson, which are the labs, that's $243,935. And CNC contracting of $185,940. Questions?
Any questions on bills and salaries? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Porter. I'll second. All in favor of approving payment of bills and salaries, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you. Down to public participation. One. And this is just a reminder, you'll have 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to speak. And I'm sorry, I can't read your writing. Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, on the dress code, come on up.
All right, everyone, my name is Tyler Wells. I prepared rewrites of your dress code.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. All right. My name is Tyler Wells. The last board meeting, we spoke about the flaws of that the student body found. I'm here to share my revisions with you. Since our last meeting, I've spent countless hours rewriting this, fueled by way too much coffee, some late nights, and a few phone and friends. I can confidently say what the dress code that I'm proposing right there is what the student body wants and what the student body needs. This version is clear and fair. Now, when we wake up in the morning, students won't be stressed about whether or not they're going to get dress coded because the rules are clear there. This dress code is inclusive. It's not just written targeting one group. It treats all of us, no matter who we are, with the same respect and expectations, with that point of education and core learning. The way the old dress code was worded made a lot of students feel like they had to hide who they are. But it's 2025, we shouldn't be having to hide who we are. So one of the biggest improvements in that dress code doesn't target a specific gender. Let's be honest, almost every dress code out there has mainly focused on girls, always. This dress code doesn't matter. It's gender neutral, as it's fair to everyone. Another issue in the old policy was the line that states a student will not be allowed to return to class until the issue is resolved. This leads to students missing class time over things that don't affect their learning. This new version keeps the students in class where they belong and avoids bias enforcement by using clear, consistent rules. Consider somewhere in here students who are not in class cannot recreate the organic learning atmosphere, and most concepts build upon themselves. And here's one more thing. When students aren't worried about how their body looks in their clothes or whether they'll be in trouble for wearing something harmless, they feel better. This policy helps reduce stress and anxiety. It builds confidence in students by removing shame and confusion. Hopefully it can reduce attendance issues as well as resolve behavior issues when all students are being treated as fair as the great kid they are in an atmosphere where admitting you're struggling is usually shown as behavioral issues. All students must be treated as human beings in this process of learning about their world. Because that is what school is for. To be a safe space to learn what gift you were blessed with to make this world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move down now to our administrative report and our superintendent's report, Ms. Ward.
So we don't have a school presentation tonight or my presentation, but we do have Codell. Josh Fleming is going to share some updates on construction.
Great. Oh, thank you.
We have got moving on a little bit with Longest. You can't tell from the outside, but work is being done on the inside. You can see from the dumpster outside and everything going on there. So currently what we have going on, we have asbestos mitigation going on in the band room. They've stripped all the flooring out and they're getting all the black mastic up right now. So that should be done by the end of the week. So starting the next couple of weeks, our flooring crew will come in there and start to resand everything in there and circulate new flooring. So the band room will start to change over the next couple of months quicker than we originally inspected, which is nice because the asbestos did start moving pretty quickly. Down here in the bottom, we have all of our walls demoed out. We got our floor cut out and we're starting to lay in plumbing, which is a big step for us because once flooring gets laid after that, we're moving pretty quickly in there. Floor demo has been a little bit of a struggle with the old building that we're in. Some things don't want to unstick, so we are moving through that, but we're progressing quite well for what we're doing right now. We removed the underground storage tank from outside, which was a big feat because it took us longer to find that than what we expected. But overall, we're going very well with getting moved on with Area B and getting that done before the school year starts back. We did rebid some stuff today for Area A, and we are still working out some work with the contractors we currently have, and we'll be sharing that information with Contessa and Brian once we get moving on there. Weather days, since we've been inside, is nice. We haven't had any of those, so nothing to talk about there, and same with financials. These are some photos of the inside of the building. They're not the prettiest because it is demo phase through here, but the guys are getting these walls, this is them cutting out the floor and doing everything for plumbing and stuff there. So we're moving along. The guys are pretty happy with their pace right now. We got a few things we got to catch up on, but we still expect to have the project done and Area B before you guys get back in school. Anybody have any questions about anything?
Appreciate the photos.
No problem. And if any times you guys want to stop by and take a look, obviously it's your school, you're more than welcome to come in, but let us know. We'll be more than happy to walk with you guys and kind of give you an idea what's going on. Thank you, everybody.
Hello, I'm Charles from Summit Architects and Engineers out of Lexington. I'm going to touch base on the other projects that are ongoing right now. The Muhlenberg County Field House, the plumbing and electrical has been underway for a while now. They're there doing that. The exterior and interior CMU block is complete. It's up. We have the door frames installed in the block walls and they're completed. Roof trusses are finished and up today. They got them all up today. So if you stop by there, you're going to see some wonderful, beautiful little metal trusses that are up there. The brick veneer should start beginning next week. They'll start installing that. On the Muhlenberg County Middle School classroom renovation, work is underway and that will be completed probably earlier than we thought before school starts because it's such a small project. So that's what I have for you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move down now to our attendance and enrollment report. Mr. Watkins.
Good afternoon, Chairman Rager and board members. Month 10 attendance and enrollment was the last 4 days of school. Usually it's kind of a low week, but the first 3 days started out really good. The last day kind of got us as far as the attendance percentage, but attendance percentage for the month or the last 4 days was 91.39%, and our enrollment was 4,187. I do want to add a couple of numbers for you all. Went back and looked at our average daily attendance and our enrollment for last year. So 23-24, the enrollment was 4,211 on average. This year, the average for the year was 4,204, so down 7 students. Our attendance, last year 92.29%, this year 92.76%. So attendance is up, enrollment is a little down. That's kind of, I guess, the trend that we've seen a little bit over the last couple of years. In conversation with our regional DPP group this past week, that's kind of the trend around us in about every county. So hopefully we can get those enrollments enrollment numbers up, and our schools do a great job of making school fun and a good place to go with, different competitions, and our elementaries do a really good job of making it rewarding. And just hopefully we can continue the trend of good attendance, work hard every day to get our enrollment up. And one last thing, congratulations to Central City. They were the high attendance leader for the year at 93.89%. So, good job to
We'll meet at Red Lobster. Central City, we'll meet at
We're
Red
sure too,
Lobster.
so.
Yeah,
And that ends my report.
All right, thank you.
good job, thank you.
All right, so we are going to move on down now to item A. Item A is to approve second reading of the revised dress code. This is just the second reading of what we revised. We had our discussion at our special meeting last month, or earlier, I guess, was it last month? I don't even remember when we met. And discussed, I think it was June the 2nd.
Yeah, June 2nd.
And we did make some revisions to the previous that we presented last month to make it more geared towards what the students and staff had suggested. And I appreciate Tyler for presenting today. I was just kind of going through some of the things that you had changed or that were different. Basically, dress length, mid-thigh 5 inches above the knee. We did change that to say mid-thigh, so it is going to be within those guidelines. Pajamas are just, they're not going to be allowed regardless.
That's for the dance.
Huh?
Mid-thigh is for dance.
Well, the dance, that was for the dress. The dress dance.
Keep the one.
Yes.
Right? That's what we did. And then, but pajamas and flannel pants, I mean, we're just not gonna budge on that, so. And the way that it's worded on shirts and all on yours, I just want to kind of go through some of the things I noticed that was changed that you put. I mean, basically, low cut and showing cleavage are just not going to be acceptable. So, I mean, we do realize, as you said, brief unintentional exposure during movement is understandable and acceptable. That's with anyone. I mean, you realize. But I know you put a lot of work into that and, speaking for your cohorts on that. So, we do appreciate you. It takes a lot of guts to get up here and talk, and I know you've done it twice now, so you should be really good at it. So, we do appreciate that. But there are just some things that we can't budge on, And to be honest, we did take a look at trying to make everything more geared towards male versus female, even though a lot of the things that we were seeing problems with, it was the females, mostly, so.
The issue with the shirts was the cleavage, the
Yeah.
excessive exposure.
Yeah, so I want to, not to call you out, but I mean, you are showing up and speaking on all of your peers' behalf, and that's very commemorable of you to do that. So, but anyway, without further ado, we'll go on and any other discussion on our revised dress code?
I think we ought to, one thing we want to say is we did not touch the discipline. The discipline was what was in the dress code to begin with, so it was not something that that wasn't even anything that we did look like. This was the discipline that was already in the handbook, and we just kept it the same, so.
And I think,
If I may speak on behalf of the kids, I think the problem is time out of class is time that they can't learn. And so if they are having a problem at home getting appropriate clothes, I've had students that only had pajama pants because he was so tall. So if that's all they have, we either need to be addressing that problem or we need to be just making sure that it is covered fairly for every student.
and I think from what I understand, there are resources available through Family Resource to help with those types of things. So if that is a problem for a lot of students, then those students probably need to be getting that resource, to them and utilizing those. And furthermore, it's not that we're trying to keep kids from having their own individuality. But you can still, within the means of our guidelines, express your individuality, as long as you're within our dress code policy. So, it doesn't keep anyone from being able to do what they want to do, wear what they want to wear, other than it has to be within our guidelines. So, I don't think that should be an issue with anyone. If there are kids that are having trouble that they can't afford anything but pajama bottoms, and those kids, we need to see those kids and see what we can do to help get them some resources to get what's, allowable within the school. So, and I think we have plenty of people in places, lots of people out there are willing to donate and give and do, and I know all of us up here on this board would be able to do that too. So, bring us your problems, and we'll help. So,
Yes, definitely.
let's see.
And the family resource centers at every school I have known, they do a great job. It's just a matter of going in there, they will do.
And sometimes it's the parents that are keeping them from utilizing that resource.
Well,
I had one that I was like, just.
that's what we
ready
need,
to
our
shake mom. He's like, "Mom."
educators, in the school, realizing those needs and maybe taking accountability and helping that student, being that parent for that student would help.
Well, going back to what we talked about during the first meeting, we are teaching our students how to dress appropriately for a given situation. When children are in school, they have a dress code they have to follow. When you go to work, there's a dress code at work. When you go in the military, there's a dress code for military. When you're an officer of the law, you have a uniform you must wear. You can't choose what to wear. They tell you what to wear. So we're in the business of teaching young people how to react to things in their environment. And as a former educator myself, and I know Jan was as well, that's why we're up here. We care a lot. And I will say, taking on dress code, we were warned that it would be a battle. And I would like to say that if all of the people that showed up for that dress code meeting would have showed up tonight to hear about the recognition that our school district received from the National Beta District of Distinction, received a National Beta District of Distinction, we would have a different school system. If that many people would show up for academic reasons and to support our administrators and our teachers in their teaching every day, and test scores and things like that. There was a lot of stuff on Facebook about test scores, and why don't they worry about test scores? We're very worried about test scores. We look at it all the time. We talk about it. We discuss it. And to say that we're not is absolute fallacy. So taking this on was a big deal, but we took it on for a reason. Our constituents asked us to, so we did. And you all are voters, and if you don't agree with what we're doing up here, we all have terms, and we can all be replaced. And I urge you to exercise your right. But we are here every day to do what we think is best after listening to our constituents for what's happening in the county and our school system.
All right. Anything else? All right. So we will move down to the vote. And I'm going to make a motion to approve the second reading of the dress code policy.
Second.
And second by Ms. Yance. All in favor of approving the second reading of our revised dress code policy, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We'll move down now to item B, and this is to approve the addition of kindergarten camp worker stipends. Mr. Blitzinger?
Thank you, Chairman Rieger. Board members again. This is just the addition of, I failed to put that on the extra duty salary schedule, extra service. It's completely Felix Martin funded. It's just the rates for the teachers for the week, and the aides is a per day rate. And so I'm just asking that we can get that put on the extra service, and I'll have that updated and put it on the web tomorrow.
Make a motion motion to approve the addition of kindergarten camp worker stipends.
I have a motion by Mr. Porter, second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the kindergarten camp worker stipends, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Item C is to approve the amended 24-25 school calendar. Mr. Watkins.
Chairman Rager, board members, this is a routine procedure the board completes after each school year. The attached mini calendar includes all changes that were made during the 24-25 calendar. And just a couple things that it included. February 21st was an instructional day that we changed to a work day. March 17th was a work day that we changed to an instructional day. It has our NTI days in there listed, as well as shortened days, which would be early release and then a delay maybe in the morning.
All right. Any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Jones and a second by Ms. Ford. All in favor of approving the amended 24-25 school calendar, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Hear none?
Thank you.
Thank you. Down to item D, and that's to consider awarding bids for CDL physicals. Mr. Lyle.
Thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. So this is our yearly CDL physicals where we award the bids. Kentucky does require that all school bus drivers have an annual DOT physical, and we had an ad placed in the paper. The deadline was June 2nd. We received one bid. You have that. And I would recommend that the board accept the most appropriate bid, which is the bid. And that would be my recommendation.
Any questions on the bid? If not, we'll need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Bard. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving or awarding the bid for CDL physicals to community health centers, please say aye. 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 All opposed? I hear none.
Is it still $55?
We got 58, 39, and 15, total three different, which is the same as current.
He's having technical difficulties. All right.
Sitting next to a plant.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Did we? Yeah, we already know that. Okay. Item E is to consider the first reading of KSBA Board Policy Update Number 48.
Thank you. This is the first reading of our annual KSBA Board Policy Update. And all of the updates to board policies are either required by state law or recommended by KSBA. You have the proposed changes. Typically, when we do the board policy update, it's pretty simple. The changes are sent to us and we approve them and we move on. Not a lot different in that world this year, but there are some major law changes, some Senate bills, some House bills. And so rather than just approving this and moving on, I believe it's important that we look at a few that are some big ones that are passed this year. But before we go into them, I believe it's very important that everyone understand that what we're looking at in the board policies, these are not Muhlenberg County rules. These are not board member rules. These are not Ms. Orr's rules that she wants to put in place. This is the law that the General Assembly has passed. And as laws, we have to find ways to abide by the law. So in looking at these policies, I just want to bring up just a few of these that I believe are key policies that make some big changes that we'll also be sharing with parents and guardians. So the first one I would draw your attention to is policy 08.1351. Policy 08.1351. This change was made by Senate Bill 19. It deals with the moment of silence at the beginning of a school day. And so with that moment of silence, it is required, and it says a moment of silence or reflection is required in all schools. And so we will have that starting this school year, and the way it reads is it will take place the first class period of the day. So the very beginning of the day. And it is has said that it will be not less than 1 minute, not more than 2. So they spell that out as well. We will be giving notification to parents about what that actually looks like and how to help their students understand what that looks like. The next policy I would bring up is policy 08.2323. And again, the ones I'm bringing up, they are big policies, and so this one is no exception. House Bill 208 amended some of the statutes, and it prohibited the use of social media by students during the school day unless authorized by a teacher for instructional purposes. This House Bill 208 did have an emergency clause, so it is currently in effect. We're not in school, but it is currently in effect. House Bill 208 also listed that students are prohibited from using a personal telecommunication device, which would be cell phones, anything of that nature, during instructional time, except during an emergency or if directed to do so by a teacher for an instructional purpose. It has to be that instructional purpose. It cannot be just a teacher saying, I'm going to let you do it in my classroom. It has to have an instructional purpose. Again, House Bill 208, emergency clause, it's already in effect. And that also affects policy 09.4261. So those go hand in hand. The next one is probably the one that I have spent the most time over the last 2 weeks. And it is policy 08.2424. And if you've seen anything, it's on the traceable communication systems. How staff and volunteers can communicate with students. And I think I know I said it in the beginning, but I think it's important again to note that this is the law. It's not our decision here, it is the law. And I will share too that on Tuesday of this week I talked with Representative Raymer and shared some of the concerns that I have. I believe the intention of the bill was good. I believe there's a lot of unintended consequences. And she has told me that they will be reviewing that when they meet again. They meet again in January. So this is our law for this school year. So what does that mean? So it is Senate Bill 181, and its effective date is June 27th. And I'm actually, and I apologize, but I am going to actually read some of this bill. A district employee or volunteer, unless authorized, shall not communicate electronically with a student. 1, outside of the traceable communication system designated by the board. We have an agenda item later that we will actually designate what those platforms will be. Or 2, through an unauthorized electronic communication program or application. This shall not restrict any electronic communications between a student and his or her family member who is a district employee or volunteer. Now, the Senate Bill 181 defines family member. And it defines family member as a parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, brother, sister. And that's it. It doesn't list in-laws. It doesn't list cousins. It's very, very narrow on its definition of family. It also says that staff members shall not use or create personal social networking accounts to which they communicate directly with or invite students to be friends. A parent may submit a written consent form to authorize a designated district employee or volunteer who is not a family member under that definition to communicate electronically with his or her child outside of our approved traceable communication systems. That will be uploaded. We'll have a way to get that to families. However, that form will not be used for mass group communications, meaning it's not going to be used for a whole basketball team or a sports team. It's not going to be used massive group for clubs or extracurricular activities. It's more going to be used for if I'm a youth pastor and I have students, I'm an employee, I have students at my church, in order to communicate with them, their parents could sign that form to allow that. KRS 160.145 also creates a duty for school district employees and volunteers to report if there is a violation of this policy, and there are steps in place for discipline of staff or volunteers who violate the policy. So just to clarify, as of June 27th, next Friday, in accordance with KRS 160.145, district employees and volunteers shall not communicate with students outside of defined family members using text messaging, social media, or unauthorized apps. A lot of information from our board update number 48. I would recommend that we approve the first reading of KSBA policy update number 48. Any questions?
How about we, board members communicate in a group?
Board members are exempt because they're not the employees of the.
She's an employee.
Yeah, Ms. Orr, but she'll be a staff member.
It's just for students.
Okay, just for students.
From adult to student.
Yes, adult to adult communication, a teacher to a parent is all outside of this. This is just staff member or volunteer with a student.
So how would a swim team communicate with all the students?
What we will look at in the later agenda item is approving, I think we have 4 or 5 different platforms that they can communicate.
That's traceable. Got it. Makes sense. Okay.
Any other discussion on this? If not, I need a motion to approve the review of the procedure. Consider the first reading of KSBA board policy number 48.
So moved.
A motion by Ms. Shantz. Second by Mr. Porter. All in favor of considering the first reading of the board policy update number 48, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Now we're down to review of KSBA board procedure update number 29. Mr. Lau.
Thank you. This is again, the annual KSBA board procedure update. All of the updates to board procedures are recommendations of KSBA tied to laws, and the proposed procedure changes are attached, and you have that information with the letter from KSBA. And I would recommend that the board approve the board procedure update number 29.
I'm going to make a motion to approve. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the review of the KSBA board procedure update number 29, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Hear none. Down to item G, and that's to consider early posting of the student data specialist position at Muhlenberg County Board of Education.
We have received a resignation of our current student data specialist, and that the retirement will be effective October 1st of this school year. And we are allowing that we post that early and begin that position early so that we can have training on site and before this person retires. It would also allow if someone in district were to get that position to allow them to fill in plenty of time before the school year.
I have a motion by Mr. Johar. Second by Ms. Ballard. All in favor of considering the early posting of the student data specialist position, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We'll move down now to item H, which was an added item, and this is to consider the designation of specific programs and applications as traceable communication systems.
So this goes back to Mr. Johar's question just a second ago. What are those communication systems? And so Senate Bill 181 does require the boards of education to take action and designate those specific programs or applications that can be used by employees or volunteers to communicate electronically with students. And they are referred to as traceable communication systems, meaning that if a parent were to request to see that we can pull that report and they can see exactly everything that's being communicated with their student by a staff member or volunteer. And so a lot of us have talked and looked at the different things that we currently have in our district that that some of our staff are already using. Most of our staff are already using Remind. So we have listed Remind, Apogee, Class Dojo, and the Google Suite. In the Google Suite, that would include the district-owned Google Email, Google Classroom, and all of the things that fall under Google Suite.
All right, any further questions on that? If not, I will need a motion to consider the designation of specific programs for the traceable communication system.
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Bard. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Hear none. And item I is to consider award bid for Muhlenberg County High School and Muhlenberg County Middle School roofing project.
And so you have the bids there in front of you. I would recommend that we do take the lowest bid to award for this project. Again, it is the restoration of both the high school roofing and the middle school roofing.
This is for two schools, basically.
You have the middle school and the high school roofing project. What we found is that we did not plan to do the middle school right now, but if we do it now, it was a better deal than we ever expected.
Yeah, I see that.
Yes.
The cost is very reasonable.
I budgeted $975,000 this year to do the one school.
This is,
And I think total it comes in at 856, something like that, 856.
how did you come to 856, Mr. Lance?
If you take the lowest bid for the high school and then the middle school, and you combine those, it gives you 856, 457.
Yes, that's cool.
Is there a reason the middle school is $140,000 more?
Yes, and it goes into the guttering. The guttering at the middle school is good, but what we're gonna do is take the guttering that we, instead of replacing at the middle school, and replace the high school that's in need of repair.
That's for just the middle school.
So it's in the middle school bid, the work.
Right. And it lists that in there, that it got to be at the high school.
Are there any questions or comments on this?
I think it's a good price. I don't think we have used them before, have we?
No.
I didn't recognize that name.
Need a motion to consider the bid, award the bid for the high school and middle school roofing project. A motion by Mr. Johar.
Second.
Second by Ms. Bard. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And then down to item J, and this is to consider awarding bid for Muhlenberg South Elementary parking lot ceiling.
So Muhlenberg South Elementary's parking lot is in need of sealing this summer, and we have one quote, is what we have received, and I would recommend that the board accept that bid.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Porter. All in favor of awarding the bid for the South Elementary parking lot to American Asphalt Ceiling, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you. And then we're down to our board consent agenda items. This is to approve the minutes of the prior board meeting, approve the SRO contract between the City of Central City and Muhlenberg County Board of Education Education, also to approve the SRO contract between the City of Greenville and the Muhlenberg County Board of Education. Board members, you've had a chance to review all of this in your packets. Are there any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Yance. Second by Ms. Hard. All in favor of approving the board consent agenda items, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. At this time, it's our time to do our annual superintendent evaluation. So I'm going to need a motion to enter into closed session to discuss personnel KRS 61.810F. After this is complete, we will exit out of closed session and come back in, discuss it briefly, and then we will adjourn, so.
And you're all welcome to stay for all of that.
But it might take time.
Outside, and then we'll call you back in if you like.
Yep.
I would recommend not.
We're not.
I'll make a motion to enter into closed session. Second by Mr. Porter. All in favor of entering into closed session, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. All right, we're back into open session now, after meeting to discuss personnel KRS 61.810F, which was our annual superintendent evaluation. The results of that are as follows. There are 7 standards that we do evaluate the superintendent on each year. The first standard is strategic leadership, and we scored her as exemplary. The second standard is instructional leadership, exemplary. The third is cultural leadership, exemplary. The fourth is human resource, exemplary. 5 is managerial, is exemplary. 6 is collaborative, and that's accomplished. And 7 is influential, and that's exemplary. So we'd like to congratulate her on this good evaluation that we've given. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Johnson, second by Ms. Ford. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.